us from wherever you're watching us from. You're watching the Gambia's first private TV station, and we are broadcasting live from our studios here on Kairaba Avenue. My name is Aliou Cisse, and thank you so much for following this program every week here on QTV at 9 p.m. and also repeated on Sunday at 10 a.m. Well, on the eve of the Gambia's 61st Independence Day, my guest this week is no one but someone who actually needs no introduction, who is the leader and Secretary General of the United Democratic Party, who also doubles as the flag bearer of the party ahead of the 2026 elections. Honorable Ousainou Darboe, thank you so much for being on the program, and once again, thank you so much for agreeing to come and have this discussion with me.
Thank you, Aliou, for hosting me again.
Yeah. I'm quite honored that anytime when I reach out to you, you're always willing to come and face me for a discussion like this one, especially when this year is a very crucial year as far as the Gambia is concerned.
Well,
but to start with, how do you feel on the eve of the Gambia's 61st Independence Day?
I have mixed feelings. Assessment reflections and rededication. Reflections on the 18th of February 1965, when I, as a schoolboy, took part in the march past in Makati Square, and when the Prime Minister was given the instrument of independence on that day at Makati Square. I recollect that day. I imagine myself in that beautiful St. Augustine's uniform to really doing or wishing to do for my country what I think should be done for it.
We will get into your actual vision for the country. As I said, you were selected as the flag bearer of the UDP. We'll get into your vision and your plans for the country. You have been at the forefront of Gambian politics for decades. One will tend to ask, how has your personal journey, helped shape your vision, for the Gambia today?
Well, my personal journey really, which was sometimes on a very rugged, terrain, and sometimes thorny and hilly terrain, and really made me think of a Gambia where politics and governance is done with not only utmost good faith, but with the sincerity and having the people, as your central focus. Because if people cease to be your central focus, then you are visionless. And however rugged the path was, we've never deviated from that vision that the people of the Gambia must get a government that they deserve. The people of Gambia must live in conditions that is commensurate with their dignity and with their humanity. That has always been, that has always been a vision, and in fact, in my undelivered mitigation before the courts, in my allocators, I did hampered on the maximization of the happiness of the greatest number of people. That should be the forefront of any politician. How you maximize the happiness of the greatest number of people.
So looking back to 1996 when the UDP was formed, what do you see as the core values that still, define the party?
The core value that still define the party is still that justice, peace and progress. And of course, this encompasses selflessness, this encompasses patriotism, this encompasses of treating people the way you would want them to treat you. Otherwise, you will do injustice to them. You will be unjust to them.
You have faced, like you said, along the journey, you have faced challenges and setbacks. Which one of them taught you the most about leadership?
Well, I think the Chamoy Bridge incident was one that really taught me about leadership. Yes, because we are put in a situation where we have to succumb to the wishes of the authority or assert our rights against the authorities. And I did tell my colleagues then that whatever happened, we were just going along. We are just going on our tour. We will not allow anybody to disturb us, and our permit will not be revoked verbally. If our permit has to be revoked, it has to be done in writing because of a written permit, and we would have no justification for anybody to ask us to terminate our tour without giving us any reason. And we found ourselves in a situation where we knew that another ambush was being organized when a few police officers came to Kular and said they were to take us to Basse. And some of my colleagues thought that no, we cannot take the risk. And I said, no, we will. This is the government of the Gambia. This is their agent, security agent. They've come to pick us up. We will go back to Basse under their escort. If anything untoward happens, it's their responsibility. And I told that was a situation that I cannot compromise. I'll go with them. And the security, of course, read the situation and probably knew what I was saying. And they then asked for men from the military barracks in Basse to come over to Kular and give us just because we knew that there was an ambush laid for us. And I was prepared to go and face that ambush with a few policemen that were there. And I thought that will be their responsibility. If anything untoward happens, that would be their responsibility.
Where did you get that courage from?
Well, I got that courage from day one when I accepted to be leader of the United Democratic Party. Because I knew that taking up leadership of the United Democratic Party at that time in the political life of this country, you are taking all sorts of risks. And I knew that I would be facing risks, and I'm prepared to face the risks at any time. So it was since 1996 that I really had that courage, and I believe that I'll be facing several risks, and I will not run away from risks that I do not create. I will not run away from any situation that is not my creation. But any situation created by the other side, I'll be able to confront them, and I always need to confront them.
Was it the same courage that forced you to take to the streets when the late Solo Sandeng was arrested?
Of course, it was a matter of principle that a young person looking for the best thing for his country, a good system for his country, a system that those who arrested him could themselves be the beneficiaries of, to have him murdered. I won't say killed, to have him murdered for no just cause. I thought I will be abdicating our responsibility to our party membership, will abdicating my responsibility to the Gambian people if I do not go out and protest the commission of that heinous crime. If I didn't, I would never have forgiven myself for that. That would have been the greatest failure in my leadership of the United Democratic Party. It would be a stain on me and on the party, which stain we can never clean. Of course, we went out and we knew the consequences, and that is why I said that all our supporters, those who are going out, must be at the back, and we'll take the bullets because we knew what could happen to us.
So you were ready?
We are ready. We are ready, and I did tell my family. The last person I spoke to was my sister-in-law in the United States. I said, we are going, and damn the consequences. And he said, damn lian yala na lian ar.
You've been selected as the UDP's, presidential flag bearer again. Let me begin by just putting it direct. Should this be seen as a renewed mandate or maybe a missed opportunity for leadership transition?
This is an assertion of confidence in my leadership. That is what it was about. It was assertion of confidence in my leadership and also the validation of the democratic process that UDP adheres to in the selection of its flag bearer.
But many have questioned the fairness and transparency of the whole process.
Well, many, I don't know how, I don't.
Well, one of the aspirants at the time, Lamin Jedabo, sat in the same seat, you are seated right now, and he said, he didn't agree with the process. He believed this process wasn't fair and, transparent.
Well, you see, I don't want to address Mr. Dabo in any personal way, but really, a party you claim to belong to, and nobody knows you in that party, and all of a sudden you say you want to become a presidential flag bearer of that party. The grassroots support, you do not have grassroots support because the selection started first with the publication. The selection process started with the publication of the notice that all intending aspirants will write and express their intention. And everyone who was interested did so. And the process started with grassroots. The panel that was selected went down to the grassroots. And in that grassroots was Combo South, Mr. Dabo's place of origin. And as far as the panel members are concerned, nobody endorsed his candidature. Look, if in politics you shouldn't be seasonal. You must be one who is engaged all throughout, and you must be engaging with the party that you either sympathize or you support or for which you are a member. You must be constantly be engaging with that party and engaging in the activities of that party. You cannot be seasonal.
Is that the same case for Talib as well?
Talib was not seasonal.
Okay.
Of course, you cannot have the secretary, the organizing secretary of a party being a seasonal. Since 2018, when he was selected as, I believe, 2020, when he was selected really as the organizing secretary, he has been in it. Even in his campaign as mayor, he was actively engaged in the politics in the KMC area, and when he became the national organizing secretary, he became engaged in the activities of the party nationally. So he wasn't a seasonal politician as far as the UDP was concerned. He was constantly engaged in the UDP.
And do you see his departure as a betrayal to the party? When a person makes a choice of his political affiliation, I do not consider that as a betrayal. Yeah? I don't consider that as a betrayal. Did you at any point attempt to engage them to make sure they don't leave the party?
I did not engage them directly, but certainly Mr. Bensouda was engaged indirectly. I do not do that directly, because for me, when a member of any organization believes that he must leave the organization, I don't see anything wrong with that. I shouldn't go after to cajole you, because you are not indispensable. So if you are indispensable, then I'll go after you, but you are not indispensable.
But this is someone who many will say was very influential within the party.
Well, that is so.
He was very active within the party.
Yeah, but who gave him that influence? I think let us be fair. He was influenced because UDP provided the platform for him. First sponsored him as a mayor of Kanifing municipality. He was elected, and then elected as a national organizing secretary, all on the platform of the United Democratic Party. Before, with all due respect, besides, I don't want to be personal about these things. I don't want to, but the things that, whoever, even me, Usain Dabo, whatever claim I make is UDP that has made me to be what I am. I did not have the influence before I became leader of the United Democratic Party. So if through the grace of that party, through the magnanimity of that party, of the membership of that party, I'm accorded this singular privileged position, I shouldn't think that to be my influence. If I do so, I'll be arrogating to myself what do not belong to me.
So has their departure caused any damage to the party, or maybe perhaps dwindled the support base?
Well, obviously, some people have left. Some people who, for certain reasons, were not even happy with the party, and they kept distance. I know that. They kept distance. And that was exploited by Mr. Bensouda. But then, our core membership remains. I do not want to mention any individuals, but certainly, individuals who left, who are very active in APRC, and only in 2017, 2018, when they saw that UDP was in the government, and everybody thought that UDP was controlling the government, and they came in. Those people did not come to party; they went to government. So I don't want to mention individuals, but then there are many of those people. Of course, there is no dispute that one or two individuals who were long-term members, 1996 members of the party, left, and we didn't want that. We didn't want that, but it had what happened. But again, that's right. Yeah, that's right. It has happened, but then, we have to forge on.
I remember when I hosted you on this program last year, and I asked you about the then campaign manager, Mamadou Sabali, who left, and you said, if Ibrahim Adeba was to leave the UDP, that's going to be that's going to shock you. Yeah, and it happened.
Yes. And it shocked me. It shocked me not because his departure impacted on the fortunes of the party. It shocked me because of very close, deep personal relationship I had with him. Just like a son abandoning a dad. So it shocked me. This is someone I would always have dinner with when he comes from the United States. So if he goes, yes, it certainly at that personal level it did. But politically, did it impact on me? Did it shock me politically? No. Because in politics, I know your closest ally, the person that dines and wines with you in politics, can always desert you. So that didn't shock me at all, as far as the political angle of it is concerned.
Will you accept them if they decide to return to their home?
United Democratic Party is a mass movement, is a mass party. Even if I say, look, you are not coming to the party, and you decide to vote for it, can I do anything about that? I cannot do anything about that. So anyone who has left the party and wants to come back, the party is welcome and welcome anybody. It has happened in the past. And when it happens, we tell them, in the Mandinka language that, muskoto ya muru ke maka la jadu doyate. When a divorced woman goes back to her former husband, that does not in any way affect her dignity as a woman.
I heard J. Dabo here, and he argued that, I mean, in his words, that a party, in this case UDP, a party that cannot manage its own internal democracy, cannot promise national transformation. Is this valid?
Well, you know, when you make such broad statements, you know, has he provided any reason for it? You have to provide reason for it. Cannot maintain your own internal democracy. If he was a member, or anybody is a member of any party, and you find that that party is unable to manage its own internal democracy, you have nothing to do with that party. If you're a man of principle, you should leave that party and say, look, I cannot be part of an organization that cannot manage its internal democracy. And then you go to there you go, build your own organization where your internal democracy, you can manage it. Yeah? And certainly, I have not heard anyone in this country from 1996 to now, Wajwara and all those people, even when they left, nobody has ever accused UDP of being unable to manage its internal democracy. Of course, these allegations, you know, come what, you know, after you lose the position that you wanted to have. So if you had been selected as flag bearer, the internal democracy that you say was managed, would you be protesting about that?
What lessons, I mean, from your past presidential campaign, I mean, will you apply this year?
What?
Your past, I mean, you know, presidential campaign, lessons that you will apply this year?
Well, we'll start off with the registration. Because every serious campaign starts with registration. You want to ensure that there is proper registration of voters. You want to make sure that all claimants are eligible. If you have non-eligible claimants, you have recourse to the law. That is the start of the campaign. And of course, we want to sound to the IEC. I will not be presumptuous to be their advisor, but then I'm going to make this unsolicited advice, of course, that they must just not say they are applying the law as it is. They should be in a position to scrutinize the eligibility of claimants. We all know that to access Gambian national documents is the easiest thing to do. We have heard, we've seen a member of the Senegalese parliament say how easy it is to access Gambian national documents, that in his constituency, everyone there has Gambian national identity card, to the extent that they are becoming worried that that place might be taken over. Because obviously, if you produce Gambian identity card, you will be considered as a Gambian.
Could it be there are Gambians who are married in Senegal, or maybe there are Gambians who are residing in that particular part of Senegal?
Well, you see, if Gambians who are in that side of Senegal, they could, and then the law, there would be no law, there would be no need for the law to say that, for us to say that you want to have Gambians in diaspora to be registered. There would be no need for it. But what I'm, my own position, well, not my position, but my belief is that you are, the law first and foremost says that you should be registered in the constituency in which you reside. If you are not, or if you do not want to register in that, then go to your place of birth, so that you can register. Are you telling me that being in any of those settlements across the border is a constituency in the Gambia, or is the place of birth of those claimants? The options given to us is register in your constituency or in your place of birth. These people we are talking about, they are not residing in any constituency and are not residing in their place of birth. So to tell me that they are Gambians, they can come and vote, I disagree with that. If that can happen, then there is no need, really, for the most part, to have a registration of Gambian nationals for purpose of presidential elections in foreign countries.
Your Excellency, I mean, the pre-election opinion polls, I mean, by CEPRAS, I mean, indicates that there is a competitive landscape ahead of the election. I mean, your party has stated, I mean, that, I mean, polls do not win elections, voters do. Can you just help us unpack what this means for the UDP and how do you interpret polling data?
Well, I have always accorded great respect, to the opinion polls. I always consider them as tools, that I can use for my organization and for my campaigns. I would have wished if these polls, if they had segregated, to say, well, KM, this is what the voters in KM say. West Coast, LRR, and so forth. Do the segregation and then give us the total. I wish they had done that. Then I could have properly used that one also to say, well, here UDP is down to only 2%. How do I intensify my engagement with the voters in that area? How much resources should I put in that area? But you see, this is for this 20% is just national, so that you are left with no idea as to where, in fact, you are said to be weak or you are said to be stronger. But nonetheless, we do not think that for the period from 2020 to 2023, yes, to 2022 to 2023, that our ratings in West Coast region would have gone down so drastically. Nor do we think our ratings in KM would have gone down so drastically. After all, the votes that were counted showed us to be ahead of NPP. But we respect what the opinion poll says, and we are going to work hard to make sure that we do it the Trump and Hillary Clinton sky, because Hillary Clinton was put way ahead of Trump. But then when they went to the polls, it was something else. And of course, I've also given examples of it in Central Africa, where the incumbent president was given favorable rating as against the major opposition party in the country, and the major opposition parties in those countries defeated the incumbent president, who had received very high rating from the pollsters.
So with all these surveys, and there was another one recently which said, okay, NPP is likely to win the next elections. I mean, what is the UDP doing at the moment different to remain relevant and competitive?
Let me say that NPP and their allies, because it's not NPP alone, because NPP alone cannot do anything in this country. But that's the truth. No, that's the truth.
But they claim to be very popular.
They claim. They claim. I'm happy that we have qualified, but they claim, so which is subjective. But we are intensifying our grassroots mobilization, our grassroots support. Just today, some of people returned from the provinces, not on camera, you do not hear them on loudspeakers. They go quietly into the kitchens, into the bedrooms, into the parlors of the voters. and talk to them.
I have seen, Mamadi Kurang and Sonko Gambia. They have been very busy going up and down in the provinces.
They tell you that we are going, but where they go, where they hold the discussions, you do not see who they are holding discussions with. But one thing that is clear, in URR, a place called Sanunding, there has been, dramatic changes in that place.
In terms of what?
In terms of defections from NPP to UDP. And we say, when we are a defection when we have defection to UDP, we say it, and we show the people. We do not manufacture, we do not cook up stories.
So that's the problem I have with all these political parties. When the president goes on tour, every rally, there are people who come and say, okay, this people are cross-cupping from UDP, another party to the NPP. You also hear, okay, UDP is, okay, they're cross-cupping from NPP to UDP, cross-cupping from UDP to UMC. So,
what I can tell you is that UDP never stage manages any of these events. We don't. NPP has learned from one of their coalition partners that this is what you must do. Get your own people, and they pretend to be from Party A, defecting to NPP.
But what evidence do you have to substantiate this?
I think GRTS, we had on GRTS that the councillor from in Piran ward defected to NPP, and have a strongly worded rebuttal that is false. This policy of deception must stop. You have the national broadcaster giving false news to the Gambian people, trying to promote the political fortunes of NPP, trying to make it look rosy, when it's not true.
But maybe that's information we are given by sources they trust within the NPP.
It's not in sources. You see, this is why when President Adama Barrow invites UDP to occasions, we refuse to go because they politicize those occasions. But when you appear there, then they send out the false report that you have defected to NPP. This is what has happened. There was this program in the electrification program in Pirang. His word. If he kept out, they'll say, no, they are doing too much politics. Even developmental things, they don't want to be associated with. They don't want to come and be with the president at it. And then he appears there. Naturally, photographs of him will be taken, and then you go and announce that he has defected to NPP. False announcement. But this is what happens.
Honorable, key issues for Gambians at the moment include, the issue of unemployment, governance. Some will talk about service delivery and all whatnot. What are your key priorities for 2026 campaign?
The 2026 campaign, everything in the Gambia is a priority. You point to agriculture. I say, but why should I point to agriculture and not education? You point to education and say, why should I point to education and not health? You talk of unemployment. You say, yes, but why should I talk of unemployment when I'm not doing any? Why shouldn't I talk about the irregular migration? So everything really is a priority. Everything really is a priority. But for all these other sectors to really respond to the needs of our country, we need to look at the economy, revamp the economy. Yeah. Because if you have a strong economy and properly managed fiscal discipline, your dalacy becomes stronger, then you can attend to issues affecting agriculture because the economy will be able to support it. You can attend to issues affecting education because your economy will be able to support it. And of course, you will also be able to manage responsibly your debt burden, because all those are matters that affect all these institutions. Because what you would ordinarily put into education, you are having half part of it to service your debts. Whatever you should put in agriculture, you are taking part of that to service your debts.
I think 13 billion in this year's budget.
So really, that is the cancer that is eating into the fabric of our society. And you cannot ignore it. You have to service those debts. Otherwise, your relations with your creditors would be very awkward, and your eligibility for borrowing, even with grants, even if you have grants with components on it, you're eligible for it, will become questionable.
But here the government will tell you, okay, we are doing a lot in the education sector. At some point, I had the president saying his government even built a school in your hometown, Dobo.
That is false. That is false.
He said he upgraded the school.
That is false. MRC Holland. I think this is what leaders should be. Leaders should be honest. When people of goodwill do something for the benefit of your citizens, you should acknowledge that. And you can say, but they've been able to do this, or they agreed to do this because of my this, that, and that. It is MRC Holland that is building all these schools.
But through government.
It's not doing, there are donations. So we should, I think that's what I'm saying, that look, there's no harm. If I were there, I would be honest to say, look, MRC Holland, thank you very much for what you are doing. And I will tell Gambian people that MRC Holland is doing this for me. You know why they are doing it for me? Because they think that I am the leader with whom they can really work. They've seen how they work with me. So they are bringing all this help to me.
But
you cannot claim.
There are records where he has openly acknowledged the support of MRC Holland Foundation.
Well, maybe I missed it.
You missed it, but
maybe I missed it. If they have,
definitely he has at some point. I have heard him acknowledge.
I certainly want to be corrected on that.
Yeah.
I certainly want to hear that, but I have never heard, because I have been making that comments all along. That yes, schools have been built, but it's not by the government of the government. Look at your budget. Is there any budget allocation for building of new schools in any place in this country, or upgrading schools in any part of this country? Look at your national budget. But MRC Holland is doing these things, and we should all be thankful.
Yeah, and aside from
that
also, the government will also tell you, just the president just returned from inaugurating, electricity projects.
But what did
in 719 communities, and also there are roads. With all these visible developments, why do you think people should dump the incumbent for an opposition?
Very good. In the first place, electricity. We must again be honest to ourselves. This rural electrification project was not conceived by the Barrow administration.
Really?
No.
Who conceived it?
This is an ECOWAS project. In fact, it is funded by African Development Bank, Lightning of Africa. Gambia's own was allocated because we are small. We are a small country. Lagos is much bigger than us. One city is even Dakar is bigger than us.
In terms of population.
So to provide these type of services for them, and with acceleration, it's easy because of our size. The other countries are also benefiting from it, but because of their size, and of the size of their, not only geographical, their land mass size, population size, it cannot be accelerated as that of the Gambia.
Like you said,
if I can just, and you'll agree with me that, well, let me not say you'll agree with me, I know that coverage by the media, including your media outfit.
QTV.
Yeah, including QTV. You've seen the ECOWAS ambassador present on these occasions.
Even the president of the commission.
You've seen the president of the commission. So that shows you that it's not a Gambia government project. Gambia government project, you would never see the ECOWAS ambassador going there, this thing being politicized. You'll never see that.
But
because
it's not just ECOWAS. We have other projects that are funded by the World Bank. Of course, I mean, the European Investment Bank, the European Union. But you're saying, Honorable, one will say, I mean, there were governments before this, but ECOWAS never came in to support this kind of projects. So obviously, the credit will go to the current government.
To say the previous government, ECOWAS never came to support this, I don't think that is correct. And this is why I said that this was not a project that was conceived by the Barrow administration. These projects were conceived before. During Jamia's time, there were rural electrification projects. It's all part of this project. You go to North Bank, in fact, Karawan, SAO, just before branching off to go to Karawan, you see a big, distribution outlet there. That was in Jamia's time. And other places and other parts of the Gambia also. So it is a continuous thing. And I'm saying that you could say that, as you said, that being implemented in my time, yes, nobody should dispute that. But do not make it as if you conceived it and you thought I should bring this to my people. No, that would be wrong.
Honorable, let's now look at the issue of, coalition. Election is coming up. Many people are saying, there's a need for the opposition to unite to be able to win like you said, the NPP and its alliance parties. Is your party willing and ready to go into coalition ahead of next election?
We have always been willing to coalesce. We have always been willing to have an alliance with any party. All parties, we have always been willing for that. We have never at any time in the life of this country, or since UDP was established, there was never at any time that we gave our back to a coalition or to alliance. We've never.
Under what conditions are you willing to go into coalition this time around?
Well, it's not under what conditions are you willing. In every negotiation, parties state their positions. And we go to these negotiations with our positions. I want to convince to my position. You convince me to your position, to your position. And really, one making a public declaration of what your position is doesn't mean that that is an imposition. Otherwise, there will be no negotiation. You talk of negotiation because there are positions adopted. It may be 3 different positions, and then you negotiate. So we just want to make that clear, that we state our position, and we never shied away from making stating our positions. And I'm sure you know, the Apex has held a press conference a few weeks ago to say that the initiative that they are advancing, they have done that publicly. And we are part of that. We are part of that initiative.
Are you prepared to give chance if statistics or surveys shows that another opposition candidate stand a better chance to win President Barrow? Are you willing to give a chance and step back?
Well, it's not me. It's the party.
Is the party prepared for that?
Well, the party's preparation for that would depend on we properly scrutinizing that, how do you call it, whatever you call it, survey, we have to properly scrutinize it, interrogate it, and arrive at conclusion, yes, this is really true, it is genuine, it is not manipulated, it is not manufactured, it is not done to really keep UDP, out of the race. And of course, when you say another opposition, It could very well be somebody else from the United Democratic Party, not necessarily with Ndapa.
And is that possible?
Why not? And I say that we'll still have to interrogate that finding and see his credibility. Yeah.
You've attempted 5 times to become the president, and you are still not fortunate enough to win. Will this be the last time that Honorable Ousainou Darboe will ever attempt the contest for presidency on the UDP ticket?
That question was put to me. I don't know. I cannot remember by who. But I said, look, I'm not even sure whether December, whether I'd even be nominated in November. I don't even know that.
It was here.
So what?
It was on the same program.
Yeah. So why do I have to talk about 2031 when I do not know whether even in November this year whether I'll be nominated? When I say whether I'll be nominated, not that whether I'll be qualified for nomination or I'll fulfill all the criteria to be nominated as a presidential candidate. But I say this because of the transient nature of man. That is why I say it.
Are you actively preparing a successor within the party?
Successor. See, for us, every member of the party is a potential leader of the party. I mean, when you start saying that, 1, 2, 3, 4 people, it is from this crop of people that I'm going to select as successor, or I'm going to project as successor, you are being unfair to others. When the time for the selection of the successor arrives, then there would be hidden talents, people who are quite intelligent, very patriotic, very committed, and have great respect for the values of the party, can emerge. So for me, to say that you are preparing a group of people to take over as a successor can even be counterproductive.
And are you hopeful that the opposition can come together to form a coalition? Time is running out, Honorable.
Well, yes, time is running out. We are in February. I am hopeful that there will be some kind of coalitions. I don't know whether it will be a coalition of all the opposition parties, but certainly there will be coalitions of opposition parties. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
If you were to send a key message to supporters of the UDP and those who left the party, what appeal are you going to make tonight?
Well, you make an appeal to people who belong to the same category, so the message, for people who don't belong to the same category, the message can be misread. And I do not anybody to misconstrue whatever I say here. But what I say first, those who are in the party and believe in the UDP, believe in the values of the UDP, believe that UDP has really been resilient. UDP is the one who has been there since 1996. UDP molded many politicians in this country. What I will tell them is that continue in being faithful to your party. Do not be distracted by what I would say, I don't want to offend anybody. Don't really be fooled by manipulations. Don't be carried away by these unsubstantiated talks in the social media. Be focused, and you know what your mission has always been since 1996. There are some of you who were born in UDP, grew up in UDP, and today you are adults, and you know the values of UDP, and you know that there is no party in this country that has a better value than UDP. So continue to embrace that value. And to anyone who might have left, I tell you, look, go back, rewind, reflect. In 2017, the UDP that you chose to join, how that UDP was being run, you are probably part and parcel of the management of that UDP.
Yeah.
And you must know that UDP never deviates from its core values, from its core principles. So come back to your home, and whatever aspirations you may have, you can work it through the UDP. And in fact, you probably have missed the opportunity of really, achieving your aspirations through the UDP.
Thank you so much, Honorable Lawyer Usainu N.M. Dabo, who is the Secretary General and leader of the United Democratic Party and also the party's, flag bearer ahead of the next election. Thank you so much for being on the program. Quite appreciated. Well, with that, we bring an end to this week's edition of your weekly State of Affairs program. On behalf of the production team and everyone here at QTV, we wish you happy Ramadan Mubarak, and of course, happy Lent to our Christian brothers and sisters. Until then, join us next week. Bye-bye for now.